All right, so today's episode is going to be a fun one. It's going to be completely improvised. The fundamental question I'm going to start with is, what does Ayurveda have to offer when life gives you curveballs? Today, we had a whole thing planned today, and I couldn't get in the building, so we rescheduled. I called everyone and let them know, hey, sorry, I can't get in the building. We can't do it. We got to reschedule. As soon as I was done calling everybody, somebody with a bike walks up. He gets in the building. He gets us in the building, and I'm like, now what? So, sticking with the reschedule, and now we're going to record a podcast. All the learning sessions that we do, really all sessions of Ayurveda begin with an internalization. For my consultations, I sing this chant before the consultation to prepare myself and to prepare the space to receive the knowledge of Ayurveda. It is the first line of the Ashtanga Hridayam, and it gives recognition and obeisances, respect and praise, acknowledgement to the supreme physician, to the divine physician. It says that all diseases which stem from attachment, that there are an infinite number of places that those attachments can come from, that we hold those attachments in this body, and that there is an infinite number of variations on which we can play them out. So essentially, our fears, aversions, and attachments, there's an infinite pile from which we can withdraw them, and there's an infinite pile with which we can label them. You know, we can say, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that, whatever. We hold them in the body, and they really all come from the same thing. And it says that we recognize the supreme physician who eradicates that, who destroys anxiety, fear, and restlessness.
Satatan Asheshakaya Prafrutan Asheshan Autsukhyamoharatitan Chakana Yo Purva Vaidya Namhostu Tasmai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
What does the science of Ayurveda have to offer us when life is getting crazy? When life is getting stressful, when life is getting chaotic, what does Ayurveda have to say? First, we need to identify the problem. I feel stressed. I feel overwhelmed. That's not the same thing as life is stressful and life is overwhelming. The truth is, it's not an objective reality. It's not a law of God or the cosmos that I am stressed or that I feel overwhelmed. The stress or overwhelm that I feel is subjective. I feel that way based on what I'm experiencing. Somebody else may not feel that way at all. So I suppose the first thing to do is to take ownership of the fact that I feel that way and that I'm creating that. It's not an objective reality, it's a subjective reality that I'm creating. So I feel stressed and overwhelmed. Okay? So what can I do about that? Well, I can act. I can identify what are the things I'm claiming that make me feel that way. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of organization that gets to be had with the businesses, personally. Okay, so there's an opportunity for change. Something came into my mind while I was saying that, and it was where I wanted to go next, and now I can't remember. Well, we'll just have to keep on going. Alright, so I've identified the actuality of the situation, which is that it's not that I don't need to be stressed. I feel stressed, and that's not a requirement. Okay. That my stress is an indication, not a problem. My stress is a cue, it's not a problem. The fact that I feel stressed and overwhelmed is not an indication that I am broken. It is literally the opposite. It's an indication that I am working. The stress that I feel is a signpost which is guiding me towards something I need to do, something I need to accomplish, which I identified as some organizational objectives within the business and personally. Within the business, there's a lot. Looking at updating the website, looking into physical spaces, and just keeping things going. Certainly with the launch of Kitchery Hut, that's very exciting, and that's a whole new venture in and of itself, and so there's a lot of work to do there, and I'm in the process of bringing on more help to help me with that. We've already got chefs, delivery drivers, and cooks, things of that nature. So that's good. So these are good things. And the opportunity to organize them even better, to create more value for you, for me, for people in my life, in my community, is present and at hand. So that feels good too. Okay, good. We're getting places. Personally, I'm going through a lot. I feel like I'm a very transformational person. I once heard somebody say, like around the age of like 25 or 26, you settle into who you are, and your personality kind of like stays there. And I'll tell you what, I can't relate to that at all. I feel like it is completely different. For practically my entire life, I feel like if you ask me, what's going on, I feel like I'm a completely different person than I was 6 months ago. Maybe not completely, but radically different, I feel like I experience a continual state of transformation. I feel like I live in a continual state of transformation, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And lately I've been feeling kind of like this whole spectrum of stuff, I wake up feeling extraordinary. I wake up feeling tremendous and grateful and excited about what's at hand for the day. And also, sometimes at the end of the day, I feel sad. I feel kind of lonely sometimes. And so it's all happening at once. Some health problems, within my family are definitely sad. And yeah, there's always a looming question of, am I succeeding? Am I doing enough? And by succeeding, I mean, am I serving in the way that I have been called to serve? And so that's kind of what's going on personally, and I feel pretty good about that. Every day is an honor, and I feel like I say that a lot to a lot of people, that it's an honor, and I don't know how else to say it. I don't have any better words than that. It's a tremendous honor. It's as deep as the word honor goes. That's how I feel. So, okay, cool. Now we're really getting places. Now I'm tearing up, if you can't tell, and I'm feeling better about this whole stress thing, because it's not necessary, and it's not helpful. And challenges are opportunities. And I'll tell you what, I had a conversation with someone a few weeks ago, and at one point I said to him, what if you just didn't have that problem? Because he was talking about, this and that, and he was kind of spiraling in his head, and I stopped him. I said, dude, just stop thinking that. Like, just what if you didn't have that problem? And one of my favorite quotes from Carl Jung is that we don't solve our problems, we transcend them. And I've certainly experienced that as true. I've never solved any of my problems. At some point in time, they just go away. They're just not problems anymore because I've transcended them. I think about it like in 8th grade, right? I had all sorts of problems in 8th grade. It's like, did I solve them? No. I just lived my life, and then those problems weren't problems anymore. And so that's still true today, right? I have these problems. The problems I had a year ago, did I solve them? Probably not. No, I just kept living and transcended those. And so now is the same. The problems that I claim to have now, they're really not problems. And as I said to my friend, what if you just didn't have that problem? And I'll tell you what, my own voice has been ringing in my head ever since then. Whenever I get into my own head, I just think, what if I just didn't have that problem? That's just not a problem. It's not a problem that I have. It isn't. And that's true. I don't have problems. Right? What do I have? Challenges, opportunities for growth, opportunities to become more effective in my work and everything. Opportunities to become joyful. There's no end to the level of joy and abundance that I can experience. I experience a tremendous amount of joy, peace, and abundance, and I'll take more of it, right? There's just more to be had. So now we are getting places, okay? stress isn't necessary. It's a signpost towards what I want. And as soon as I recognize what I want and start acting to get there, well, guess what? All of a sudden, I don't feel stressed anymore. Okay, great. So let's explore what if it's not that easy. You know, I just worked through it here with you live, which is pretty cool. So thank you for that. Let's talk about what if it's not that easy. Hey Daryl, what if I don't wake up feeling like that? What if I wake up and my mind immediately is racing, and it races all day, and it races, and I can't fall asleep because it races all night, and then I don't sleep well. I wake up a couple of times during the night, and then I wake up again and my mind is racing. So the question is, what to do when habituated to a feeling of anxiety? I do think it starts out the same. I think it is fundamentally critical and necessary to recognize that your anxiety is not a problem. Your anxiety is not an indication that you are broken. It's exactly the opposite. The anxiety that you feel is an indication that you're working. The reason you're feeling the anxiety is because something isn't right. Something isn't set correctly, and so you feel anxious about it. And so if you've been in a state of continual, habitual anxiety, it's because something is continually calling to you. Something is knocking on the door of your awareness or attention and saying, tend to me. Change something. It could be anything. You know what it is. Odds are, if you ask yourself, your brain will answer immediately. And so that's one thing you can do. If you don't know, you can ask yourself and be genuine. What do I need to tend to in order to alleviate this feeling? I'm sure your brain will rattle off like at least 3 to 10 things. And so pick the first one. Something primary will come to your mind. So pick that. Right? Okay, so we've got that. Let's say it's my job. I don't like my job. You know what we can recognize is that it's gonna be a relationship. Whether it's a relationship with a person or a relationship with something like your job, it's your relationship that's causing the problem, right? It's either my relationship with this person or it's my relationship with this activity that I'm doing. It's a relationship that you have with something or someone. And so this relationship is calling forth to you to be tended to. It has devolved or disintegrated into a state of dysfunction, and that dysfunction is creating dysfunction in your life, and you know that. And so every day that you don't tend to that dysfunction, then your body does you a favor and gives you a little feeling of anxiety so that you tend to it. Okay, so we've got something to tend to. What happens a lot of time is that something is big. You know, life isn't easy. So odds are the thing you're not tending to is pretty big and scary, which is why you're choosing not to tend to it. And that brings up one of one of the more impactful lessons I learned from my favorite clinical psychologist, Jordan Peterson, which he points out, in the stories of myth and narratives of fighting dragons, that you don't have a choice. The dragon is there. The dragon is real. The problem is at hand. You didn't choose it. Problems befall us. They present themselves to us. Issues, situations, life occurs. So what he says is that the dragon is there. So you got two options. You can arm yourself, prepare yourself, and go and fight that dragon. And good luck, because dragons are hard. Dragons are scary, right? Or you can hide. You can wait and you can hide. And if you wait and you hide, then the dragon is uncontested. The dragon goes out there and he lives uncontested, and he grows in power and strength. And as you're hiding, you're getting weak and vulnerable, and so you get weak and the dragon becomes stronger, and then the dragon just comes and consumes you anyway. And you've got no chance because you've been hiding, being weak. And so, as far as I can tell, he's right. That's how I experience it. That's how it goes in my life. Fortunately, he gives some good advice for fighting dragons, which is to chop them up into bite-sized pieces. For example, you got a big problem in your relationship. Let's say it's your relationship with your significant other. It could be your best friend, it could be your significant other, it could be your boss. It could be a relationship with an activity that you do, but whatever. You got this problem in this relationship. And so rather than saying, okay, I'm going to go solve this problem today, right? I'm going to go kill this dragon in a single slice. It's like, that's not realistic. It's not going to happen. If you do that, you may lose the battle. You probably will. And so he says you chop it up into bite-sized pieces, right? What's one thing I can do today? If you're dissatisfied in some way, shape, or form in a relationship, then maybe that's the first thing, right? That's something you could do today. Just acknowledge it. Hey, I'm not happy about this. I think this could be better. I want this to be better. I think this could be a better experience for me. And this could be a better experience for you. And it's funny because the conversations we have with ourselves are exactly the same that we have with other people. We could take those words and you could say that to your significant other, or you could just take those words and say that between two voices in your head, right? One part of you wants to do this thing, another part of you wants to do this thing. Maybe this thing, it gets judged by this thing as non-helpful, and so there's this inner battle of desires. Well, okay, I want to be good and act in the best interest of my health, and then this person says, well, I want to have fun and live my life, and I'm willing to act not in the best interest of my health, and so they're just constantly fighting, and we could have that conversation between them exactly the same. Hey, I think we could operate in a manner where we both win, right? And that'll perk your ears up. Oh, okay. And maybe that's as far as it goes today. Try it. See how you feel. Take a deep breath. And try it. Say it. Say it out loud. Say it out loud to yourself. Say it out loud to the person. And then I'll tell you what. Just keep speaking. Tell the truth. Because that's all the anxiety is. The anxiety is a cue. It's an indication. It's a signpost. It really is it's something that's causing you discomfort to push you towards where you want to go. So who knows? Maybe we should be thanking our anxiety. Without it, we would just be comfortably stuck. That'd be kind of stupid, wouldn't it? So, there. All right. That sounds like a plan. Baby steps, one step at a time. First things first. Let's just acknowledge it. Because you know what it is? Here's what I think about. It's like when you go to the zoo and you see the animals, and some of the animals, you can tell they're sad. They look sad. They look depressed. Although, when you look at squirrels out in nature, you've never seen a sad squirrel, right? Not once in your life have you ever seen a squirrel and thought to yourself, "Oh, that squirrel looks sad." They're never sad. They're always being squirrels, right? And that's exactly why. Because they're being squirrels. Because they are squirrels and they're being squirrels. They're living according to their nature. That's the difference. The animals at the zoo are living not in alignment with their nature. Their nature is to act and do and be in a certain environment, and they're not in alignment with that. Thus, they are depressed. And we are exactly the same. Human beings are exactly the same. We have a nature. Not only do we as human beings have a universally shared nature, you as an individual have a singular individual nature. That's where Ayurveda really comes in too, is that according to Ayurveda, that is your prakriti. That is your nature. Thus, to live in harmony, to live in health, we must live in alignment with our universal nature as human beings and with our individual nature. That's why we can't copy anybody. You can't copy, you could take the happiest, most enlightened person on the planet and do exactly what that person does every single day, and it won't make you the happiest, most enlightened person on the planet, because that's not your nature. We must live in according to our nature, assuming we are striving for health. True health, holistic health, health in all of the ways. Health, happiness, joy, peace, abundance, vigor, vitality, enthusiasm, gratitude, connection, love. In order to be successful by however you deem successful, you must be in alignment with your nature, right? There's no other way to do it. It seems to be. It seems as if. It seems that may be a fundamental law of the universe. a fundamental law that we as human beings are bound by. Right? It's not possible for me to live my best life if I'm not aligned with living what I think my best life is. It sounds kind of obvious, and that's what it is. Okay, and so bringing it back again to like a practical step, because that's a big goal, right? Live in perfect alignment with my truth, with my nature. The easiest thing we can do is get outside. We were born to be outside. Hippocrates said, if you're in a bad mood, go for a walk. If you're still in a bad mood, go for another walk. He also said that walking is man's best medicine. And I'm really feeling that lately. We evolved to walk. Our nature is to walk. Our nature is to walk, and our nature is to be outside, to experience the elements. And so that's, I think, the first and most practical step we can take is walk. Walk outside. Whatever it is. Add 5 minutes of walking outside to your day. Baby steps, right? We want to set ourselves up to win. We don't want to make it hard on ourselves. We want to work in our own best interest. We want to set ourselves up for success. Like, we want to give ourselves the opportunity to surpass our goals, right? Like, why not? Life is hard enough. Why don't we set it up so that, like, let's give us a few easy ones, right? Put it on the little t-ball stand, and here you go, buddy. Like, let's just get our swing right. Let's just knock a few out of the park and make it easy. Let's build up some momentum. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna make it easy on ourselves. We're just gonna acknowledge, hey, guess what? I'm working. I'm not broken. Hey, guess what? There's this thing that I think could be better. All right, I've said that out loud. Good, that feels good. And now here is just a nice little easy physiological circadian tweak that I can bring into my life, which is just, I'm gonna pop outside. I'm gonna pop outside and I'm gonna walk for 5 minutes by myself. Or not, with somebody else, whatever. Okay. That feels like a great start. Let's do this. All right, I'm gonna go outside. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.